Welcome back. Previously we unlocked much of our potential and cleared out much of the wine cellar. Today we finished the job. Right after I top off the hit points. As you'll notice, the mini-map now shows that door is unlocked, and we can just go right through it after we use the sigil. I've just noticed these guys actually literally wear red shirts. Poor saps. He's lost his minty flavor. He'll never be the same. That doesn't mean he's gone, just that he'll never be the same. Our first undead? And it's basically going to be a cakewalk. Everything is a certain shot. So we're just going to wail on him. Not that it matters, but I was just going after his arm to make sure that he'd be crippled if he did get a hit in. With a nice drop. Guaranteed to drop, but it's our first one-handed piercing weapon. And it's a direct upgrade to the Fandango. 1 extra point. And we get some more undead. One armed zombie, an armored zombie, and a ghoul. Now while we got a new weapon, we see that it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be good against everything. The armored guy has plate armor, so he's got a inherent resistance to piercing. So I'll just take out this guy. So we'll switch to an edged weapon. Go after the arm. And rather than try and see if I'm going to hit him, just remember this is a Squaresoft game, so cure hurts undead. At some point I'll switch the either temper or instill on, but right now I just would prefer that fluid motion back and forth. Ghouls, honestly I don't ever remember them doing anything ever in any time that I played these games. They just die. I just realized this after 15 years. Why do these guys have curative items? Why do these undead carry poison? And now I'm apparently showing you a insight to my madness. If I'm not playing this for the internet, I would just spin around the camera and hop until I regain my hit points and everything. I will stop that in the future. And we come to a room that opens with some double doors. Going to switch back to the rapier. Make sure everything's topped off and go through. The door is locked behind us. and we walk right into a cutscene. Surprisingly enough, that weapon, despite really looking like it should be a two-handed weapon, is actually a one-handed weapon. It's called a rampia, which technically should be a type of pole arm. But this guy is not really playing with a too much of a head on his shoulders, so I can't really judge him too badly. As our first evil boss, he deserves a quick debuff. The abdomen is weak, but has high evasion and high chain evasion, which we haven't seen yet. But it is the thing that will prevent bosses from just turning into a chain combo to death. You have to be careful and pay attention to what you're hitting, and stop if you realize that you're just going to keep whipping. Now obviously if you see that you missed the first hit, and you can keep chaining, but you're going to have to climb out of a pretty deep hole and take a lot of risk just to get any sort of damage. So usually you'll see if I miss, I'll take that one extra chain and then drop it, unless I really feel spunky. And another time where I didn't really need to heal, wasted time, and just didn't need to do it. But with that, our second boss is done. Get some points. Get another % of completion. And get some more hit points. And here we get our first stat boosting potions that I'm going to forget about for a while, and another Grimoire that I'm going to forget about for a while too. Get some more defense abilities. In this case I know that I'm coming up against some enemies that use fire, so I'm going to select it but not equip it, because I'm great at video games. Our first spear, our first gem, and some more trash. Now the spear is the first piece of equipment that we can actually attach a gem to. It's technically an upgrade to the rapier, but since it's a two-handed weapon, just not feeling it for one extra point. That being said though, I'm going to stare at it for a while, then go through the setup to attach a gem to it. Just opens up a little menu, shows how many gems you can equip to a piece of equipment, and then you slap it on there. This has a little bit of a boost in addition to the 20% benefit, adds a couple points to a enemy's affinity. And we have beneficial traps as well. The heal, as you see, did a full heal and a full risk purge, which is nice, and the cure would undo statuses if I had any. We get our first break art. Break arts use hit points to do damage. They do a type damage and an affinity damage, so using the right one can really bring the hurt to an enemy. and the Hellhound is dead. Have another Hellhound. As long as you get to them early, they're nothing different than a wolf. If you do let them get an opening shot, you're gonna get burned. Now, if you see this huddled mass in the edge of the room, it is an enemy. The one thing you'll notice is that if you attack an enemy, they will go from inert to upright immediately. And just to show, it'll be a long time before I get another sword break art. And this will not be the last time that I walk into a trap that I know is there. For some reason I was thinking that I was expecting a timed room to be around here, but I was mistaken. Another skeleton. There really isn't much to say about this. Just, by the way, the Dullahan was in the last room of the wine cellar. We are now in the catacombs. Why the greatest city on Earth decided it was a good idea and sanitary to put the wine cellar beyond several rooms of rotting corpses, I do not understand. But anyway, as you can see, there's a side entrance to this in this room that you have to find a way to get to. There's some simple liftable cubes over here. Gonna go grab a box, toss it on top of somebody's grave, then dance on their grave. And use it for a stepping stone. We have another lone skeleton, and this will be our first real experience of chain evasion. As I said before, this is a nerf just to keep people from being very good at timing. Should have just thrown a cure at him, or a heal at him, but I don't know, I was just, I want to try and rebuild my ability to do chain attacks pretty well. And we got a bone helm, which I believe is actually kind of uncommon. It is our first iron piece of equipment. Now, as you can see, you can't toss a cube on a 1.5 cube high platform, but you can lift a cube from half a cube level below. We have some new things. A new blunt piece of mace, a grip that we can't do anything with, armor upgrades, and a Yokus gem, which if I had a good one-handed weapon that could attach a gem to, I would do so. The Yokus, as it says, is good against undead. But as you can see right now, the undead are kind of chumps, and I'm going to quickly gain something that will really render them to be even bigger chumps. And again, as the theme goes with leather, we get a moderate physical defense boost at the expense of magic. Unfortunately, the pink squirrel does not come with a gem slot, and we are unable to just build weapons at this moment. So on to the next room. Another hellhound. And behind him you can see a skeleton friend. And before us we see another locked door. Well, a rusted shut door. And Ashley seems to be just tempting fate by saying it will take an earthquake. I now remember that I have some stat boosts to use. I, however, forget that I have that spell to use, even though it wouldn't really do too much good on the next opponent that I'll be facing. I'm going to switch back to the rapier because, well, the next enemy, there really isn't a good choice to make against it. As you will see as I just list off everything that I hate about this. First, it's timed, not that the time really matters. The second is he is a teleporting jerk with high evasion and just loves to cast magic, who then immediately teleports away. Normally, he will teleport away far away, and he will bait you into doing something, into chasing him, and then slap you with magic. And then, when you don't take his invitation to have a magic spell in your face, he'll zoom in close, let you whiff on him, and then teleport away. Even break arts don't do too well. They still suffer from having an accuracy penalty against them, and you can't chain them, so you can't try and follow through. He'll immediately counter with a magic spell and then teleport away. And those magic spells hurt. You could attack his head, and but as you could see, it's really hard to hit anything. The arms are marginally better to hit, and since I keep whiffing, it's just not worth it to take another 10 or 15% of risk of missing. At the very least, he's given us another stat boosting potion. And a little murmur. This door we can't get through yet. I believe if I were to leave this chest for later, it would have something different in it. But I believe this is the better choice of the two instances. I've heard that the elixirs do scale with risk, but as you can see with 0 risk, I still ended up with a 4-point strength. It goes anywhere between, well, as low as 1. So I'm satisfied with that. I come over here just because I just look at that that texture. It's not legible, but it's a nice touch of somebody's epitaph. The rust is collapsed off the hinges so you can get in. And this guy gets to feel my wrath of forgetting about this for the last 10 minutes. It's a holy spell, single target. Or light element, technically. And undead just hate light. And we have another mini puzzle. A room to our left with a different wooden cube. It is as equally destructible as the paler wooden one, but the one that's reinforced with steel bands can only be pushed. We now get a new ghost friend. And a bat that just does not want to cooperate. I decided just to see that I didn't really lose much from using Spirit Surge against the first ghost, but since I don't want to cancel out of the menu and then find him throwing a magic spell in my face, I just decided to follow through. Feel my wrath, bat. Here I make a grave mistake and try and actually see if Blunt does any better against phantoms. It does not, and it has an even worse effect. As you will see whenever he comes close again. For some reason this one doesn't come close until like 3 attempts. Blunt is very bad against it, and with the extra negative additional 1 lesser point, -5 rather than -4 to intelligence, the Spirit Surge looks to be doing like it will do nothing. Mercifully it rounds up. The ghost is terrified of my awesome power, and I switch back to the rapier after way too long a deliberation. As you can see, offensive magic takes a lot out of you. Not that I will need it again. And despite the fact that I missed on that first hit, I do not want to let this ghost get another shot, so I'm just going after his head. If he survives this, which he will not, he would have been mute. And as I said, if you leave a hellhound alone, it can breathe fire on you. And shortly after meeting our first introduction to the reinforced wooden crate, we have another pushable cube. It was visible previously, but you couldn't do anything with it since it was in a corner. It is a stone cube that is rolled rather than, well, pushed. It still is, for all intents and purposes, identical to the one I'm sitting on now, but it is indestructible. We have our first silver weapon, a dear, dear friend that I just use constantly. It, as you can see, is called a knightly weapon, which is because it actually has a very high affinity against the undead. So even though I cannot use the Yokus gem at this time, I now have something that will just ruin their days. Their unlife. The rest of their unlife is ruined now. The bone helm is superior to the mask. And even though I know that I can't do it, I just wanted to see if I could slap the Yokus gem on the Soul Kiss. Now, for all the things I love about this game, this is one of them that I do not. If I had the puzzle option enabled that I disabled previously, anytime I'd re-enter this room there'd be a risk of having to do this again. There'd be no benefit, no rewards, points, or item-wise to justify it, which is why I disabled it. Now, previously, I was doing about 20 points of damage to an undead. Now, as you can see, I am just tearing through them twice as fast. Silver weapons also have a minor benefit to phantoms, and theoretically, since I'm laying into undead with it, their phantom effect is being diminished. But before the end of the game, you'll see that you get very few phantoms and a lot more undead. A lot more everything compared to phantoms, so I'm fine with just taking a minor hit to a weapon that's kind of effective against them rather than something that is very effective against something else. Unfortunately, there's not really any good chain attack or defense abilities you can select at this time. So I'm just grabbing whatever I think I want at the moment. I believe that should be it for today. We've made some good progress, and we've come across this new mysterious door, which opens up to some wonderful new possibilities, which I will describe to you next time. See you then.